Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest
down to the queens.
All right, hello, folks. Hello. We recorded for about 2 hours there, and it is gone. It is lost the ether. The universe did not want you to hear what we did. So
it was a good episode too.
It was. To sum up, Stardom wrestlers outside of Stardom. Mina Shirakawa is wrestling on Rev Pro's show on Saturday. She is taking on Dani Luna. Dani Luna was very good before joining WWE. I was very high on her. And she, I don't know, I haven't seen much of her since, but I would imagine she's still very good.
I've
So
heard she's
Mina
done some
versus
good
Dani.
things.
Yeah,
I've heard she's done some good things.
Mina versus Dani, I think it'll be pretty good. Mina was also announced for the pre-show tag for Capital Collision in the Capital, whichever the New Japan Strong
Capital
show
Collision.
is. Capital Collision. It's her and Hanako against Viva Van and Trish Adora, and a lot of people think that will set up a Mina title challenge later in the show. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Maybe they will. Speaking of the title, though, the IWGP, no, not the IWGP, the New Japan Strong Women's Championship, Mercedes Mone is defending against Momo Watanabe in the announced main event. So that's pretty crazy. That's a pretty great match.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for it. Like that's one of those matches that like you don't really think about until it comes up, and it's like, damn, that's a good ass, like, you know what I mean? Like
Battle of the
it moves you.
Meteoras.
Yeah,
Maybe,
it moves
hopefully.
you. So like that's a good match, especially Momo's been in form lately.
Mhm.
During this tournament, we'll see if the usual, uh, you know, non-tournament, debuff affects her like it usually does, but we'll see.
Yeah, I do think the strong America production might limit how good that match could be, but we're gonna have
Yeah,
to
it's
wait
gotten
and
better in
see.
the past couple. I mean, it's still not good,
Yeah,
but it's not as bad as it was like a year ago.
that's
Um,
fair.
and Momo, usually gets some love in stateside, so I think it could be a pretty hot match. Hotly
Yeah.
contested, and Mercedes is obviously very over, so hopefully it's good.
All right. We did a lot of
FWC, you forgot
Oh yeah,
FWC.
FWC challenged H2D or H2D for the Oz Academy Tag Team Championships. So that is the first time Stardom is crossing over with Oz. That team, by the way, is Ryo Mizunami and Sonoko Kato. So that's kind of an interesting one. I could see it going either way because that's two veterans. They're not going to lose very easily, but at the same time, FWC would obviously be like a fresh pair of faces for the Oz tag division, which I don't know exists beyond heel teams and
Especially
H2D.
with Carrie injured, because Carrie could really tag with anybody in
Yeah,
Oz and it would work.
yeah.
So her being gone does kind of hurt that. But I will say, when I first heard about this match happening, I started slapping my wrist and yelling "Mana." So whatever that tells you, I'm not even joking. Ask Xavi. Ask Xavi. I was just like, Mana. Like I was like, going to say it was great. Because Rima's Nami, Snuka Kato versus FWC, that's insane. That's a great match.
Yeah,
It's a Dylan match. So
very.
that's super sick.
All right. On to Stardom then. There were 4 different shows this past weekend. Listen, we're not going to re-review all this stuff. We don't have time. I think we both said that Sayakam
How
Tani
about
versus Rana Yagami
Yeah,
was
how about
like,
we go through like the better matches that we liked. Like just like, oh, what match did you like from this show? You know what I mean? Let's
oh yeah,
just
yeah,
I
okay.
feel
So
like that's the
the Korakuen had a lot. The Korakuen had a lot of stuff going on.
yeah, the core.
It was obviously headlined by Mai Iwatani versus Momo Watanabe, and I think that was the best match by far.
Yes.
I think Momo is helped by hate a lot more than anyone else because her just being a ruthless, menacing figure with these daunting, cheating figures in her corner really adds a lot to her match. And I think that really took this to another level. 'Cause not only was the crowd really invested in Mayu coming back, and boy did she come back, uh, but like her throwing the box at Mayu and almost killing her as she went to the top rope was insane. So I think her getting to beat the shit out of Mayu, Mayu kicking the shit out of her on the comebacks, it just really made for a fantastic match.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that was you know, 3 of 3 for Mayu. You know what I mean? Like Mayu's just
Yeah.
like absurd this tournament. She doesn't stop. And Mayu versus Momo, especially in Cork and Hall, there's few matchups better. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I think they just work so well together, and I think everybody knows that. I think there's just like a understanding of how much this matchup matters. So the crowd was really into it, especially. And yeah, I think Momo's been doing, unfortunately, very good work as a heel. She's one of the only, we haven't, Natsuko is a maybe always because she's not in great, her knees aren't in great shape, and she's a bit of a
Yeah.
wild card in that factor. But like Momo being the only consistently great heel in the company is very frustrating as someone who is really tired of her being a heel. So it's like damn, like if you get rid of Momo, there is no good heels in this company. So that's unfortunately. Uh, but
No, that's
with
that's
that
that's
being said, this
harsh.
match is very, very good. I don't think it is.
Did you have any thoughts that you wanted on the show, or did you just focus on that as well?
Yeah, it was mainly that. I mean, Tomoko and Saida, obviously very, very good. I didn't think it was as great as some people did. I know some people rated it super highly, but I thought it was a good clash of styles. You know what I mean? I thought it was a bit weaker than their previous matches before this, but I thought that it was a very good match as well. Azumi and Tam. Oh, fuck. We didn't even talk about Azumi and Tam being out. That's the big thing
Yeah.
from this show. Um, Azumi rolled up Tam, and Tam got challenged by Natsuko because Tam's a loser,
Yes.
and because of
I
that,
was
she
gonna
deserves
touch
a
on
title
that
shot.
for
Apparently.
the Momo Tam, so don't worry, we'll roll it on into there.
Okay, but
Um,
yes, Tam was
but yeah,
eliminated.
uh,
Huge upset for Izumi in the first match of the night. Very good, by the way.
yeah, it just changed everything on its head. Um, I think the match we both agreed as well was probably better than we're giving it credit for is Anna versus Kid, but we really did
Yeah,
take her falls, especially down the stretch. So it was definitely a better match than we're gonna
mhm.
give it credit for, but I think it was well wrestled regardless.
And there was no time waste, which I think is a great thing about a draw is when it feels like there's just like it's just them going at it. Like they're not wasting time trying to get to the draw. Uh, I didn't think there was any of that in that match, so that was very good as well. Yeah,
Yeah. All right. Um, The next show then was
day
the next
5.
day in, or not the next day, August 17th in Kyoto, in front of 506 fans. This was where we had the best of heel Saya. Her and Ronnie Yagami was probably the best we've seen from this version of Saya. She cut back on a lot of her worst tendencies, but actually did a lot of normal wrestling moves, and I think it worked a lot better for her. And seeing her opposite a natural baby face just really helped the act. I don't know why she started against Risa Sarah and Tekla, but putting her up against Rana, I think later Saki, I think it really made for her act to look a lot better than it had done. So more of this from heel Saya is kind of what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, and I think Rana had a great performance here as well. I thought Saya did do well. Her axe kick on the apron was really cool.
Oh yeah,
It
that was
looked
cool.
really crisp. And then she hit it again on Sakashima and it wasn't as good. So I was like, oh man, maybe that was a lightning in a bottle moment. Because that was what opened my eyes. I was like, hey, maybe Saya can do something here. And I thought this match was good. Um, this was the best Sai Kamatani heel performance to date. I would take this over the Sai Kashima one, but I would say that Ronnie Agami did very well opposite Sai Kamatani here as well. But not as good as Saki did against Sai Kamatani in the subsequent days, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I getcha. The main event of that show was pretty good as well. Miyo Masaki versus Shiori
You're
Ano.
skipping
Uh,
over the two really good matches.
Yeah,
Anna
we
Jay had her
don't
best
we
match of
don't
all
got
time
time for this. We
against
gotta do
Xena.
Marigold as well.
I
Um,
know it's
yeah,
okay, but I know that this is like stressful because it's stressful for me too. But we gotta slow down even just a tiny bit.
no,
'Cause
no,
just
I
a
gotta
tiny bit. You
I gotta be
gotta
out of here.
breathe.
It's gonna get
People are
dark
not
soon.
going. people are not going to understand what words you're saying because you're talking too fast, Alex.
I'm
That's the
not
problem.
talking that fast. Stop.
Point being, Anna Jay had her best match against Xena. I think Xena is probably a top 10 foreigner in Stardom history now because she just isn't missing
Yeah,
ever. Even her 40-second match against Miyu Amasaki was like fun for what it was. Like that's impressive. And this match she gave Anna Jay her best match to date. She didn't have the kitty gloves on like I felt sure he did the day prior or in the previous tournament day, whatever. She just really went at it, and Anna Jay was up for it. Anna Jay did well as well. I was happy with that. Tekla Hanan, dog shit. Starlight Kid vs Koguma, also
all right. We don't need to
very
go over
good.
every match. A lot of this
Well,
stuff is
no,
just
but just that
fine.
three piece that's what's important.
Yeah,
Was it went from very good match of the night to very very bad to very good another match of the night, and that's
it's crazy.
that show.
Yeah,
Yamasaki Soriano was good
yeah. I
enough.
thought the main event was really well done. I know Scott gave it like 3.25 in his review, and I was like, damn, okay, that's kind of low, but
I feel like Amasaki didn't get the comeback that I
I
wanted
don't
from
know.
her.
It was really fun. I thought it was really well done.
It was well done.
But I don't know.
There's more to Amasaki's game, which was the most interesting part of the match that I don't think
Yeah,
we got to see.
no, that's fair. Um, August 18th, then in Kobe, I think we had a pretty big show. I think Micah continued her okay run against Rocca.
Ugh.
Hazuki and Unimon delivered a really fun one.
Best
In
match of
fairness
Red A.
to Hazuki,
Yeah, in my opinion, best match of Red A is Suzuki Unaman.
Sarah at Saida was more of the goodness from Saida, who is one of the biggest winners of this tournament, just because she's kicking ass every chance she gets.
Hell yeah.
Um, Atsupoi and Konami, the less said about that, the
Hey,
better.
now wait, now you're going through all the matches.
Yeah, well, we got to get to the good stuff, which is Momo Watanabe and Tam Nakano. Probably the most
Yes.
important match of this tournament. I think there's better matches. I think the pace of this got a little bit too slow towards the end to really make me go, okay, you need to watch this from a wrestling perspective. But I think the overall story and character stuff was second to none. Hate, mostly Natsuko Tora and Momo were ruthless. They were destroying Tam Nakano's knee, and that was almost the aim. Momo didn't even want to win; she just wanted to hurt Tam. I think that really shone through in every interaction. I think they set Tam up as just this ultra babyface figure who kept fighting no matter what. Eglock, but the way Momo just picked her apart was ruthless. The way she just kept cheating and cheating to hurt her leg even more. Like it was an insane performance to make Momo, or not Momo, sorry, Natsuko just look like the most evil bastard in the world, and Tam Nakano is just the gutsiest babyface you can. I think this did so much groundwork to set up Tora versus Tam that if you watch any match from this tournament, it almost has to be this one.
Yeah, I thought it was very good as well. I thought that the heel stuff was very heavy-handed, and it got a bit slow, and there were like, there were these downsides to it that kind of they made it into benefits just from like a story perspective, which like you said, it kind of takes away from it as a match itself. Excuse me. Kind of takes away from it from as like a work rate match, so to speak. Azumi and Mayu, for example, was a better match, bell to bell. But just the way that they told the story of Tam here was perfect. Momo, like I said, is like she's too good at being a heel. It's frustrating me. Since this hate turn, she's just really figured it out. And she's not going to get rewarded for it ever because why would she? Um, but yeah, I thought this was a very good match and it was very well done. Tam had a babyface performance of a lifetime. I hope that the Natsuko match can be like this in every way that possibly can be.
hmm
Because this was very, very good. Except for I hope Tam wins the Natsuko match.
Of course, yeah. Honestly, they went so heavy-handed on it. I almost feel like Tam has to. Like you just,
There has to be a reflection, right?
yeah,
You
no, they
know.
just beat on her for the entire match, and then Tam dropped a bar. Okay, Tam can be lame sometimes, but she has some ice cold bars. Even if my leg breaks, my heart never will. That is insane. That is crazy. That is the most babyface line I've ever heard in my life.
El
That is
Phantasmo needs to
fantastic.
fucking learn from Tam Nakano. That motherfucker,
Yeah.
dude.
I'm not even on the
Tam is
cosmic
real for that.
waifu train, and I'm ready to
No,
run at a wall for Tam. Like, I am ready to give it all for Tam. Like,
She's
I need
really
her to
she's
win.
really rehabbed her image for me this year, which is
Oh
very
yeah, for
funny.
sure.
Uh, just all things considered, I think maybe she has a bit more of a hands-on role in that, but I think she's really just rehabbed her role completely
Yeah,
for me because I am really hoping that she wins that Natsuko match.
I could see it. I could definitely see it. The main event of the show actually as well was pretty important. Azumi beat Mayu in just under 10 minutes with the Izumi Zushi, and that set up an IWGP Women's Title match. This went sub 10 minutes, and I think they left a lot of substance for their eventual
Wait, it
rematch.
went sub 10 minutes?
Yeah, it was 9.5.
Holy shit! I didn't even that's wild. It felt like a full, a
So
full meal.
they've got a lot more in the locker, and I think you could tell almost as they were wrestling that they were going to do a rematch because they just were flying through it,
Yeah,
left
and
a
we didn't even
lot of
talk about
stuff on the
this.
table.
We didn't even talk about when we first recorded that they did officially say, "Oh yeah, this is going to be a IWGP match."
Oh yeah, yeah,
Uh,
it's like confirmed.
yeah, it's just not known when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I thought this match was tremendous. Another great Mayu performance. Azumi's kind of been, she's been dealt a rough hand this tournament because she's been so in form and so good, but two of her 6 matches or whatever, uh, were suffered from draws in different ways. You know what I mean? So it's like she kind of like had to wrestle from behind in terms of just like quality, and she's
Mm.
really showing that now. Her Tam match, like I said, was really good. This was even better. This was a top 5 of the tournament in my opinion. Um, yeah, I love the double underhook Canadian Destroyer. I thought that was a sick finish. I think that's a great move that she should protect for a while. And yeah, compliments to the chef as always.
Alrighty. Um, yeah, I think it's interesting how Azumi continues to evolve. Like she did the double underhook Canadian Destroyer into the Izumi Sushi this time, and she just keeps like adding to her repertoire, which has been really interesting in this tournament. It
Yeah,
feels like
which
she
I think
is evolving still.
I think she needs considering that like Kid is the leader of her group.
Yeah, that's
Like
fair. Yeah.
you kind of expect her to be, to like by now, at least personally as a big fan of hers, I expected her to kind of get like more of a centerpiece role as in terms of factions. And when
Mm.
Queen's Quest died, it's like, okay, well that's not going to happen. And now it's kind of seeming like Starlight Kid is the leader, and Starlight Kid is like just kind of positioned as the leader. But Azumi getting to do some cool stuff is the least that I can get as an Azumi fan, and that's kind of what I want and what I need.
All right. Um, the show today, then I think it was better matches, but I think Saki Kashima and Saya Kamatani was the real standout from today's show. One thing
Yeah,
that I think deserves to be mentioned because I thought it was just perfectly done. Like Saki coming out without the sponsor board, taking the fight straight to Saya Kamatani. Like this wasn't the Saki of old who like runs from the grind, who didn't even want to be in this tournament and just wants to make her money. This was a woman who was determined to win. I think Saya wasn't perfect opposite her. I think she went too hard into the like cowardly Weasley baby or heel thing, which doesn't really fit her. I know people have said she should do the cowardly heel thing, but it just
including
doesn't
me.
work. I don't think she can do it properly.
Yeah.
I think her acting is almost too over the top to be a cowardly heel. Um, so I think we saw here maybe that's not a good avenue for her, and she was a lot better when she was just denying the comebacks and like making the crowd root for Saki a little bit more. And, I thought the crowd was really into it when Saki got the surprise win. I thought, they counted along with the win. They responded really well to the finish. I just thought it was a nice win that, Saki Kashima from where she was when Away to Tai kicked her out to now where she gets the first pinfall win over their new pet project. I thought that this is a really nice end to her kind of arc. And I thought it was really nice for her. And I thought she did really well to
It ain't
to
the
play
end
the
though,
baby
because she
face.
gotta beat Tekla too. She gotta beat Tekla too. That's
Yes,
that's
yes, of
that's what's up
course, yeah.
next. Yeah, I thought this was a bad, not bad. I thought it was a weak Sai Kamatani heel performance, but I thought it was a magnificent Sai Kashima heel or babyface performance. So kind of like evened out a bit. I thought that Saya's work opposite Rana, like I said, was better, but I thought Saki Kashima brought a certain endearing factor and like just a really like uh, because she's so used to doing the one thing and doing the comedy stuff, her doing anything different makes it stand out. And I thought that's what like this match succeeded in, was that like Kashima really stood out as like, I am going to, you know, she Frankensteinered her onto her head. Like she was like doing stuff like real, like, effective moves, even though most of it was Saya doing pretty poor heat and doing kind of the chicken shit type of stuff. Uh, I thought that when Saki was the one that was in charge, or even when she was getting the upper hand from from behind, I thought that was always the fun part of the match. Um, I would say otherwise on the show, I thought Suzu and Tekla was the best
Oh
Tekla
yeah, they had
match
a
of the show.
slugfest.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the best Tekla match of the tournament, because I think Tekla's been pretty ugh lately.
Stop.
And no, that's I can say so many words where I could just go bleh. Like that's those are the options.
Oh,
Um, but I think Suzu, she has chemistry with some people and she doesn't with others. When she does, it's very hard for her to have a bad match. And I think this is one of those cases where it's like her and Tekla just very clearly clicked, and
mhm.
Suzu was able to kind of offset some of the stuff that Tekla does that I can't stand and think is really bad. So
Okay.
yeah, Xena was
Um,
good, Koguma was good.
of course,
Usual suspects.
the usuals. Yeah, there was no crazy one-offs. Top three matches of the tournament after the latest round. I think my number one now is Momo and Mayu. I assume you're going to
Mm,
join me there. And
No,
I think no,
no,
it's not your number one.
no, it's my number two.
What? What do you have above Momo Mayu?
I've changed. I've changed my ways.
No.
Saida versus Mayu Utani is my number one match in the tournament.
Oh my god.
I just can't stop thinking about it. I love that match. Like, it was so fucking sick. I was jumping out
Okay.
my chair. I wanted to throw shit. Like, like that's how much that match
That's
moved
just a
me.
normal like response. I don't know. That's how I feel watching Bozilla.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
But my number two is Mayu versus Momo. My number three is now Mayu versus Tam.
All right. Yeah, I think my number two is Mayu Tam. Number three is maybe Tamida. I
Hmm.
really like Tamida, but it's
I
like
also
a
have Mayu
real.
Azumi in my top five still.
Yeah. I don't know. That one's a bit. I think there's just too much competition with Mayu Azumi. Like too many similarly great matches.
Yeah,
Um.
I get that.
But yeah, that's the tournament as it is.
No, we have to
We
we
did a
have to.
lot of preview stuff to try and
Which
figure out
wait.
who
I
would go
think
through to the quarterfinals.
it should be easier now because I have it written down. Please tell me I didn't erase it. I did erase it. That's not good.
Erase it, yeah. So we had kind of figured out that, as far as we could see, Red Block A winner was Micah
Micah Hazuki go
and
through.
Micah or Hazuki, and then Red Block B was going to be Azumi and Mayu, so that you could do Hazuki Azumi and no, yes,
It would be
no,
Micah Azumi.
yeah, Mayu versus Mike. Oh my
Mayu
god.
versus Hazuki
Yeah. And
and
Azumi
Micah
versus
versus
Micah.
Azumi,
Yeah,
which has become something of like a derby. They do it almost every year, and it's usually
that's true.
not great. But this is like the first year in like a handful of years since they haven't had a singles match. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just went with it because it has so many results. Like they
Yeah, and we
just
had
do it again.
we thought they might do Inaba instead of Azumi, and I think that's still an option they could explore. But
Yeah,
I think,
mathematically it becomes a bit more difficult.
it does. And also, that feels more like a semifinal. Because the thing is, they're going to need big semifinals to load up that Musashino show. And I think a possible Mayu versus Micah is a very big draw to a lot of people. So I think that's a much bigger match to do. Whether they do it or not, I don't know, but it's a bigger match. On the blue side, we were very unsure, but I think we eventually came to Siri and Starlight Kid from A, and
Mhm.
Suzu and Saya from B, and that it would be Siri versus Suzu in a rematch from last year, and then Saya versus Kid to set up Siri versus Saya most likely in the semifinals. Because again, that's
Yeah.
another big match they can sell.
Plus
Um,
that way you put three of Neo Genesis through, even if they all lose in
yeah,
their first match. I think that's a good kind of way to start the faction, is by
that's
giving
true.
them
Yeah,
some good wins there. Um,
We did preface though that we don't know Taro Okada's rhythms. Like we don't know how he
Not at all.
books tournaments. We know Rossi. We have a pretty good idea already of what Rossi's going to do. But we don't really have a sense for Taro Okada, and so we might just be completely off. We might be bang on the money. Who knows? Um, that was the tournament stuff. We then had Marigold, and Marigold gives us more tournament stuff. So they announced the
Oh
blocks
yeah.
and the schedules for the Dreamstar Grand Prix. The Dream League is Utami Hayashishita, Mirai, Koki, Natsumi Shozuki, Chika Goto, Nagisa Nozaki, Victoria Yuzuki, and Nori. Incredible block when you think about it. I mean, Utami Mirai, Utami Koki, Shozuki versus Mirai, Shozuki versus
Shizuki
Nori.
Nori is
Dude,
like a
good
and
stuff.
Shizuki Nozaki was
And
something
that's
I had been
there's
looking at.
a bunch of other really fun matches. And then you have the
Chikagoto's very
Star
good.
League. Star League. Sari, Miku Eono, Nanai Takahashi, Bozilla, Mai Sakurai, Misa Matsui, Chiaki, and Kazuna Tanaka. You just look at that top four and you're just like, holy shit. Like that's not even fair. You're gonna get Eono Bozilla, Eono Sari, Eono Nanai. Like, oh my god. Great blocks.
I'm really
And
excited for Nanai versus literally everybody in that block. I'm
yes,
not gonna lie.
dude, like this might be her last dance, but it's gonna be quite a dance.
Oh yeah.
Um, with the final day set up, we also have a solid idea of what they're gonna do. So this is on the 28th of September, and the four key matches I would look at are Utami versus Koki, Mirai versus Nagasaki, Sari versus Bozilla, and Iono versus Nanai. I know Rossi enough to know that it's either Sari and Bozilla draw and send somebody through from Iono versus Nanai, or Iono and Nanai draw and it sends Bozilla through. On the Dream League side, I think Utami loses to Koki and that sends through Rai. I
See,
think we
I
get
think I think the one aspect of Rossi's game that you aren't giving credit to is the random. Like I can see a
uh,
Shozuki get through and lose
I don't know.
to
I think Mirai
Bozilla
just
or
has
Nanai.
more built-in matches there.
Yeah, but again, that's assuming that somebody on the Star League wins. That's more so what I mean. I
Oh
think
yeah,
a
that's
Nanai going through to the final as well, is something that's a bit more out of damn, that's a bit more out of left field. Uh, and then she could, presumably, well, I would have her win personally, but you can have Nanai lose to a Mirai in the final or something. Uh,
mm,
I think going with Mirai and Bozilla, for example, was a bit too obvious. Same with an Utami Bozilla. Uh, I think if you're gonna have Bozilla in there, you can have a Koki go through. I wouldn't, I think Koki's good, but I don't think she's ready for the finals of the first big tournament. Or you could have a Shizuki go through. I think there, I think somebody from either side is going to be a bit more under the radar. Um, if the winner's on the Star League side, I think there's more intriguing options.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But either way, I think that's the one thing you're not accounting for is the possibility of just somebody going on a run and getting to the final and losing. Because he is a fan of that. I mean, Himeka was a finalist in 2020. You know what I mean? Um, Momo, after the worst year of her career, was a finalist in 2021. So, like, I think that there is not the worst year in ring, but the worst year, like, kayfabe in terms of just like how she is doing. Uh, it was a really rough year. So, I think when you look at it like that, I can see, um, maybe not Misa Matsui, but I would love a Misa Matsui. Kind of just like rising to the occasion, somehow making it through off of a draw. Sari Bozilla draw. She beats Mai Sakurai, and then uh,
I,
Nanai
I I think
upsets
you're
Power or
denying
something
me my
stupid.
Mirai Bozilla match, and I'm not a fan of that. So no thanks.
Okay.
But I think we'll know a little bit closer to that day. I think by the time the Cork and the weekend before ends, we will have a pretty solid idea of what's going on because I think Rossi can be a bit heavy-handed with some of this stuff. And also, we just know him at this stage. Like we know how he does things. So I think it'll be really clear by that week which matches he's going to send to a draw and who he's going to send through.
Yeah.
Because right now it does look like Mirai Bozilla. They seem to be beefing, but I think that would depend on card order more than anything.
Which I have made a little plug real quick. I have made a spreadsheet for the schedule and the league table, similar
He
to what I did
has. It's really good.
for the 5 star. I will be putting that on my Twitter. And as always, if you need, you could just like DM me. I don't really care.
Yeah.
But
I'll
yeah,
post it
so
in the
I
show
made one of those.
description. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to beef up the show description now that we didn't talk about anything. um, so
I know. I feel like we're
yesterday,
forgetting like one major thing that we didn't talk about, but it's okay.
we didn't hype your no limit recording and me calling Scott a bitch. So, but
Oh yeah.
that's lost to time now, sadly.
No Limit will be within the next week. It'll be about Arisa Nakajima, and some of the best matches from her career.
I'm
It'll
trying
be
to
a
get them to
special
put on
episode.
a best friends avid rival tags because we got to
I
teach
would love to.
Scott the real wrestling. Like he's got to learn
Yeah.
sometime. Um, Yesterday, Marigold had a cork, and this is the one thing we didn't actually discuss before realizing that our recording was no more.
Yes, we could take our
Um,
time with this one.
well, it
By all
opened
means.
with Minami Yuki, the rebranded Minami Yuki. She went from Yuki Minami to Minami Yuki. Very
I hate
demure,
that so
very
much.
creative. She beat Komomo Minami in 9 minutes. Poor Komomo is just a rag doll. Um, I can see why Minami Yuki had the reputation she did as not a good wrestler in Ice Ribbon. I think she's really rough around the edges.
Mm.
But she's better than advertised. Like I thought she'd be awful, and she was mostly fine. But yeah,
Yeah, I thought she was
definitely
mostly
not
fine.
a super rookie by any means.
Yeah. Tomomo had Boo Boo Face
Yeah,
before the match started, so I was like, damn, are they really gonna give the
she's
Rook a
losing to
win? And
all
then
of
they
her
did.
classmates. It's wild. Like that's so.
Yeah, and like she was
Weird.
meant to debut like a year and a half ago,
Yeah,
like before Yuzuki,
yeah,
and look at where we're at. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was. But I
yeah,
did like Yuki's wrist clutch back suplex. I thought that was a cool finish. Otherwise, it's like she really didn't do much of substance at all. She did a couple of drop kicks that looked all right. But it was, we'll see. I think she's someone that you're gonna have to give time.
yeah, for sure. Speaking of time, after that match, I'm gonna sneeze. Oh my god. Oh god.
That was a funny ass sneeze.
Yeah, I didn't want to do the chew. I didn't want to.
Ah, achoo. Yeah,
I'm not about that life. Um,
you got different.
yeah. After that match, Seri Yamaoka showed up and she announced that she would be debuting on January 3rd at First Dream in Ota Ward. Fuka recently was like, dude, we've got this rookie, man. Y'all are gonna go crazy. And then there was a barbecue event last week with some fans, and some of the fans were like, holy shit, this new rookie, guys, they're gonna replace Giulia. They don't even need Giulia. And I was like, either this is the craziest case of simping I have ever seen, or she's got vibes.
Yeah,
And
really hope it's not simping.
yeah, no, listen, guys, she's a child. Don't be doing that. And yeah, she has vibes. So she's a former amateur wrestler. Her older sister, auditioned to be Mayu Iwatani in the Runaway Wrestler movie, and she is also a gravure idol. So I think I know for sure that Rossi was like, get this woman on board. So just the amateur wrestling, I think, is good enough. Like she's a very good amateur wrestler by the looks of it. Her brother and
She's won some
sister have
awards,
done
yeah.
it, so like it's a family thing to be good at it, and you can see it in her. She's like got a really strong, powerful presence. Like I think she's really muscly already, so she's gonna
She
be
said
somebody
she's
that's
gonna
really
she's gonna get
interesting.
more jacked
More
ahead of her
jacked,
debut.
yeah. Like
She
this
also,
is
for some reason, first person who speaks English that she's ever followed is Scott E. Wrestling, which is
that's
very
crazy.
funny.
So funny. Because yeah, Twitter like dug her up last week. Like everybody was like, "Who's this rookie that all the Japanese fans are losing their minds for?" And we all tracked her down within like minutes. It was scary. And then we were like, you know what, I get it.
Yeah.
And then she showed up here at Corkin, so perfect timing. Also at Corkin, there was two. Well, actually, one of them was before Corkin, but we didn't get to mention it. Two new faces have appeared seconding uh, in matches. One of those is the former Cat Mask Calico of Actress Girls. So she is seconding and she is training. And the other who did show up for the first time at Corkin is the former Naho Yamada. Um, she was a pretty solid addition to the Actress roster. She had like a loudspeaker, and that was kind of her gimmick. She was very
A Ghetto
futuristic.
Blaster? Like a
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, she was kind of interesting. So she's also showed up. So that's another two
In the
former
box.
actress wrestlers on the roster. So very interesting there. The next
They
match
also have
was
like two more that have not been named.
yeah, like they've so many.
Yeah.
Rossi posts photos going to lunch all the time with like new trainees. You're like, where the hell are these coming from? Like, where do you get them?
My
Um,
guess, nepotism, the
yes,
greatest thing in
that seems to
wrestling,
be it. There is another daughter
except for that one time.
in the dojo because there's Omakai Junior.
Hmm.
There's the other one that they were talking about. I don't know whose it is. And then there's a third daughter
Was
that's
it
like
was it
who is it?
Fujita?
Fujita was the speculated hidden one, but I think this is the second one.
Okay.
Or maybe I'm completely off. Because I do know it's Omakai. Then I thought there was another one. Another
Momoe? Wait, Momoe has a daughter that's
Momoe
of
is a kid, but I
age.
don't think she's in the system to train. There was another
Okay.
kid of a wrestler, but I cannot remember now for the life of me. I think it was somebody from Argion. But anyway, there appears to be another one that of an unknown veteran wrestler, and we're gonna have to find out who that is down the line. Um, Anyway, next on the show, Misa Matsui beat Naoshikawa and Natsumi Shizuki in 8 minutes. A very heavily choreographed match, and
Hmm.
when things went off, they looked good, but when somebody was out of position and they did a spot anyway, it looked very rough. Very artificial match. Like you could tell they went over that move by move backstage, and when somebody wasn't in place or somebody forgot, they all just kind of went with it anyway. Um, so yeah, it's hard to say it was good when it was such a weird match, but I thought when things clicked, it was entertaining. So can't really complain too much.
Yeah, I thought that could have been better with some stakes to it. Like obviously
Yeah.
there was that joke from Shizuki about how like, hey, now how much do you weigh? You you light enough to wrestle for this? I want a title match, please, please let me defend my title. Lose some weight if you have to. Um, she did not. It was not a title match. So I think this would have been better with some stakes to it. Um, but yeah, it was a bit choreographed. It has its flaws, but I thought it was fun for the most part. I didn't have a bad time watching it, but it was a bit week generally.
Yeah, no, I would agree there. It's dark now. I have to pull the blinds, so I'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
So
Hello.
weird to still be recording.
Yeah.
This is so late. But we'll get there. I hope. Um, all right. Was that all in that match, or
Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Misa winning was cool. She started crying at the press conference, or almost crying at the press conference, because Scott told her that the Nanai match was really good, and she lost, so that makes her very upset. That Scott reminded her that it's not just Scott. Apparently, everybody does that. But I thought it was very funny because she said word for word at the press conference what she said in an interview to Scott a few weeks or
Oh
a
my
month
god,
ago, whatever. I thought it was very funny. So
that's wild.
Misa keeps winning.
Um,
Let's
yes.
let's stay on the Misa winning chain,
All
please.
right. Our next match was an 8-woman elimination tag match. It went to a 20-minute time limit draw. I didn't know you could draw elimination matches, so you do learn something new every day. This
They're
was
usually 30
yes,
to
yeah.
avoid a draw, but yeah.
In Marigold, we do time limits, and I thank them for that. The teams were Bozilla, Chiaki, Myla Grace, and Zeta Steel versus Kazuna Tanaka, Mirai, Utami Hayashishita, and Victoria Yuzuki. Chiaki and Utami were the last two left remaining, so that's pretty interesting. I think Bozilla was a central figure despite not wrestling a lot of it because first her and Utami ran at one another, and I was ready to run through walls. I felt the passion flow through me. And also, Mirai eliminated Bozilla via over the top rope rules, and Bozilla was not happy. She was throwing like ice packs and shit at Mirai. Looked like she might bruise somebody with how hard she was throwing them. Um, you think, oh yeah, they're definitely gonna do Bozilla Mirai soon. I feel like they've been at odds a lot, but never directly. So maybe like a
Yeah.
GP final is a perfect place to finally do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. She could be the giant Bernard,
Yeah.
except, that was New Japan Cup, not G1. Doesn't matter. Um, but yeah, I thought this match was fun. I love Chiaki kind of getting the rub here.
Mm,
Um, I thought that her, eliminating Mariah with the chair shot, finally utilizing the chair effectively and getting Mariah out was cool. And I thought Utami and Chiaki were like starting to build something really cool before the draw happened.
yeah.
Um, Similarly, I thought Mila and Zeta did well. I think Mila has slowly been getting better, which is all I can really ask of her. She's not having actively bad performances like she was a couple months ago. Um, Not saying that she's been great or even generally good, but she's definitely better than she once was. And Kiz and Vic got fucking cooked. That was also funny.
Yeah, that was
Um,
crazy.
yeah, but I thought this was a fun little match. Not
Mm.
much to take from it.
Yeah, it was just kind of there.
Shout
It
out
was
Chiaki though.
hell yeah. It was the last three matches when this really kicked into gear.
Yeah,
Arisa Nakajima and Sari beat Chika Goto and Nanai Takahashi in 15 minutes. Oh my god. This wow. They don't make them like Arisa and Nanai anymore. And you just see in how they wrestle that there's just not a lot of people doing what they do anymore.
yeah.
You could just feel how hard they're hitting each other. Like you could see the difference between Arisa Nakajima kind of laying off Chika and then fully beating on Nanai Takahashi. Like it was a crazy difference. And I thought Chika and Nanai were so fired up for this match. It was hard not to just be on board. And I loved when Sari and Nakajima were like batting Chika back and forth, and then I pulled her out of the way and was like, "Take me instead." And then Chika pushed herself back in because she was like, "No, I can do it." And Nanai like cradling Chika after the match. It was like they just went to war with Nakajima and Sari, and they tried to withstand it as best they could. And I think Chica came away from this looking fantastic. She's had a lot of like losing up moments in Marigold so far, and this was another one where she just went in there with two of the most vicious wrestlers on the scene and was ready and willing to fight with them. And yeah, the Nanai Arisa stuff was all just so good. I thought it was a great match.
Yeah, that was great as well. Nanai and Arisa just like it's just different, man. Like, like every time they step to each other, because Nanai was stepping to Arisa at every chance she could.
Yeah.
And every time that happened, I just like my heart started pumping faster. Like I would get like, that like feeling of like half nervousness and half just like genuine excitement, and unmitigated excitement, because it's like, this woman's 5 days away from retiring, now like 3 days away from retiring, and and you just don't want anything to go wrong, but they also are like hitting each other so hard that it's like you can't help but be happy and excited and like be living. Uh, yeah, I loved it. I don't think I was as high on it as some others similar, to plenty of matches, um, because I think as much as I loved Gochika's performance, I think just her archetype of her being a younger wrestler who can't really do much in
Mm.
this match did take away from it. But what she did do was tremendous. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
where it's like, I wouldn't have this as like a match of the year type thing, because it clearly had someone who was like going to lose, and it wasn't about her losing even. It was about Arisa and I beating the fuck out of each other. So Arisa and I not being in the finish, while understandable, did take a little bit away from my enjoyment of it as an overall product. Um, but again, I didn't expect Nanai or Arisa to lay down for one another, so I'm not upset by any means. It was still a great match, still adored it, but I do think that that small thing. Plus, Saori's injured. Her arm is still very clearly fucked. Like she had a full ass cast on in this match. I was like, damn, you working? Um, so there were some smaller things there, but the fact that they were able to have such a tremendous match, considering all of that, is a credit to them. It was tremendous.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe I'm just like really biased because I thought it was great, but then it only has a 7.15 on Cage Match, so
That's weird. Seven
yeah.
point, really?
Marigold doesn't get a lot of ratings. I feel like the hardcore Marigold fans just don't use Cage Match,
Yeah.
so they just the ratings are never as high. But yeah, I thought it was a bit low, but maybe I'm just like too
No,
generous. I
I
don't
think
know.
I gave it an 8, which is,
Yeah,
pretty high for me. But, like, I don't get going that low. Like, 7's pretty low.
I know. Yeah, it's crazy. But you know what?
Like,
It's
7's
fine.
higher for me than it is for cage match, and that's way
Yeah,
more than a 7, you know what I mean?
yeah, for sure. I don't know, but I thought it was great. I loved it. Gonna miss Reese Nakajima because
Yeah.
I do think
Oh,
this
and the
is a
post-match.
real dying breed in Joshi of wrestlers who work like that because the style overall shifted to a much more athletic kind of base. Like a lot of the newer wrestlers, they're a lot more like big spots, German suplexes, athleticism. Like that, I'm going to fuck you up generation is slowly but surely going away. I think we're really going to miss it when it's not here anymore.
For better or for worse, I think Io and Mayu really changed how wrestling worked in Joshi. Um, because I think, like I always look at it like Arisa Nakajima is the best wrestler to come out of the post All Japan, post Gaia, pre Stardom era, right?
Mhm.
Like that 6 year period, um, when Gaia was done, and well, not Arisa and Kagetsu, but Kagetsu's a whole nother discussion, obviously. Um, but like I think of that era, of that, what's left for this division and what's going to start anew. Before Stardom began, I think that she just like really dominated. Not even in those matches, but then like in the 2010s especially, she was just like it. You know what I mean? And to this day, so it is. I don't know. She's the last of a dying breed, especially with Yoshiko gone, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Because I feel like Yoshiko was kind of uh, bird of a feather, if you will, with a Arisa Nakajima, just in their view of pro wrestling, I guess.
No, I get you. I do think there's a shift that happened that we're not gonna realize until all of that influence is gone. But yeah, we'll have to see what it's like after that. Our next match was for the United National Championship. Mika Iono beats Koki in 21 minutes to retain her championship. I thought once this got going, it was really
21
good.
minutes?
21 is a lot, yeah.
That's
Some of these
good.
Marigold matches are
Uh,
like full Broadway.
This
I
match
feel
was
like they
this
go
match was
long.
good. Like
Yeah,
I'm a bit. I don't know if I'm lower on it. I think some people don't like it. But I'm not like super high on it. But given that it was a 21-minute match, I wouldn't have expected Koki to be able to have such a good gen like you
yeah.
know
Yeah.
general
Well,
performance
I think
throughout a
Miku
21
is
minute
one of those
match.
people who brings the best out of Koki because that was how she
Yeah.
broke out at first. It was working with Aono. It's something that feels very natural to her, and I think they kept a lot of the beats from the actress match, which is maybe why I'm very blasé on this one because I saw their actress work, and I think this took a lot of the notes from that. It was like, hey, can I copy your homework? And it's like, yeah, just don't
Mm.
get caught. So I think this took a lot of the beats from that.
And here you are catching them. What a
I know,
master.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think Koki is better now than she was obviously when she started in actress, and so she brought a little bit more to the table. But I thought this was like, oh, Mika Ono is that wrestler. Like she can have this match with anyone.
You know, I know that you're gonna hate me for even bringing this up, but I do have to bring attention to it. They used my favorite Boon song for the VTR, and I was so hyped. Like I was legit like infinitely more excited for Miku versus Koki than I ever should have been, because they used one of my favorite Japanese songs as the VTR. And that was, that got us off to a good start. I like the match, like I said. Um, I didn't think it was like blow away. I think that Koki could utilize her physical gifts a lot better, if that makes sense. I think her size and her flexibility, you notice it, but then you also notice that she doesn't use it that often. Like she did a butterfly, she did like a seated cattle mutilation with her doing this crazy bridge, like digging into Alano's back. I'm just like, why don't you do more stuff like that?
Mm.
If you could just do that, like, just 20 minutes into a match, 15, 18 minutes into a match, you could just do that. Why aren't you basing more of your work around that? I feel like there's a lot more to explore for Koki in that sense. Same with her size. I think if she just got a bit more upper body strength and was starting to really use her strength, I think she could be even better. Because a lot of this match was Koki just kind of throwing the boots, which is fine. Like her boots are good, but I do think there is more to be discovered from Koki and for Koki in the
Yeah,
wrestling
I
ring.
think some people were like, "Oh, this is Koki arriving," and I think that's something I would need to see more of her before I can say
Mm,
that. Now, I think Koki's in a weird spot because I think Actress fans have kind of given up on her because they saw her completely stop trying an Actress and not reach her ceiling. And then new fans are like, "Oh my god, she's insane. She's like the best prospect ever." I think the real middle ground and probably the truth is she is a prospect and she is getting better, but she's not ready yet. And I mean,
mm.
anyone can have a good match with Miko Ono. That's kind of my thinking. Like Miko
Yeah,
Ono is one of the best wrestlers in Joshi. I said last year she was probably the wrestler of the year. If I had done a wrestler of the year, she would have been high up there. Um, I've got to see Koki do this consistently, and she is definitely getting there. I think she is making small steps, kind of on the house shows, but it's not going to be an overnight success. So I do think this is one where people are probably gonna have to pump the brakes on Koki, but also stop being so harsh on her.
I, I
just
am.
accept that she is getting better.
I think of anybody in the tournament, I think she's probably the person I'm the most concerned about.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
I think Nozaki will be good if she
Her and
wants to be
Nori.
good.
I think Nori is a weird one because
Nori's also interesting because I have never seen a Nori singles match
yeah, that's it. Like people think she's like gonna do really well, but that was a six-woman tag with Pandori and Nanai
with some of
and
the best
Takako.
wrestlers.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
people who
yeah,
can, teach you the ropes as you're going along. I think a singles match is obviously going to be a lot different, and she's going to have to fill in the gaps on her own. So yeah, I think
yeah.
Nori is a question. Yeah.
But yeah, I think as for Miku, I think so many aspects of her game are just so well done and so well worked.
Hmm.
Even her rest submission hold, the Miku lock or the 3-9 lock.
Yeah.
It's Miku 3-9, whatever. The Buffalo
That's
Sleeper.
least. Yeah.
Uh is so cool. Like she has it like she gets it so like to the point where I'm just like she should probably win with this.
Yeah.
Like, this is nasty. She's, like, fucking breaking her neck right now. She should probably win right now. Like, the match flow didn't feel like it was gonna, lead to a win, so it was just kind of like a in-between submission hold, but I was like, "She just is so good at this." At, like, the small stuff and the big stuff, and, like, I think that's really a credit to her. I like this match, but like I said, it didn't blow me away, um, all things considered. It was a good match, though, especially considering it was 21 minutes, like, that's you know,
Yeah. No,
I
that's
expect I expect worse from Koki going 20 plus minutes, uh, and not really I would have been way more worried about this match 4 months ago. What the,
hmm
3 months ago, whatever. At the beginning of Marigold than I was now. I think that they delivered. I think she's proven that she's gotten better, which is
for
what
sure.
I want.
Uh, is Miko Ono the best signed wrestler in Marigold?
No, it's
No.
Mirai.
I wouldn't have said Mirai, but interesting.
I mean, like Utami's like Utami,
Yeah, I think
but
if like anybody is better than Iono, it's probably Utami. But I think if you
I
gave Iono the Utami spots, she would have done just as good, if not better.
I
That's
don't
my
know if I
thinking.
agree with that.
I don't know. I think she could have had a crazy good EO match. Shocking, I
Yeah,
know.
but
In a night
but
main eventing with Korakuen could have been
Utami
insane.
has such like unspoken things that like is just like so
I think
like so,
Iono has them too. That's
I
that's
don't
her
think she
bag.
has them on the level of Utami.
Maybe you just don't get it. But I've seen her. Like
Maybe
I've
because
seen
I
her
no
be
I
the
love
ace.
Miku, but I
Like
don't
I've
think I
seen her
don't
be
think
the top
Aono
dog.
has the
I don't know. I don't
she doesn't
know.
have the romantic taste for pro wrestling that Utami does.
Oh, that's nasty. All right, I guess. Well,
Utami's the like most romantic professional wrestler of the modern era. Like
that's
that's
because
that's
she's
my
hot
that's
for
my
all
take.
of her colleagues.
True. I know
Like,
legit. She tweeted. She's like, damn, Shizuki denied me. I'm so sad.
that's
Shizuki's like,
crazy.
I kind of hate this block, bro. Why the fuck am I here? I want to wrestle tonight. And Utami's like, I can't believe Shizuki, turned me down, denied me. I must prove to her. And I was like,
She's
why
so
are
sassy.
you
She is
why
so
are you
sassy.
doing
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
why are you being so gay about this right now? This is weird. Like this is out of nowhere.
Our main event, anyway, we do have to finish up,
I
was
didn't mean that in like
Julie.
you know
I
what I
know,
mean.
yeah. It was Giulia beating Mai Sakurai in just under 27 minutes. Um, you know what? This match was so good. I had people messaging me being like, "Congratulations," because Mai Sakurai has been
Has been your
somebody
passion
like I have
project.
defended her for so long. I remember when she debuted in Stardom, and I was like, "Guys, there's something there. I don't think she was
When
that bad. We
she
just
couldn't
have
like
to like."
walk properly in the ring. Like you do
Yeah, I
understand
was
that was
like,
where we were at.
I just saw something. I was like, guys, there is a wrestler in here. She gets all of it. Like the rest can come in time. And I remember JD messaging me, and he was like, you know what? I appreciate that you like said what you felt and you didn't just go with what everybody else said. And I was like, yeah, I know, right? And here I am, all these years later, proven right that Mai Sakurai is indeed that bitch. Um, so good in this match that by the end of it, 1,400 people who had paid to see Giulia were rooting for her to win. I think that speaks a lot to her. I think it speaks a lot to Giulia as well. People have talked about Giulia lately in very poor terms, but she showed up here. I think she put all of her big match tropes in and was just here to make Mai Sakurai look like one of the top stars. I think Mai Sakurai does come away with a lot of momentum. Um, I thought they just did everything really well. The fact that Mai threw a shoot ahead but 3 minutes in to ramp up the match was insane, and they just kept going from there. Like, this was
Bro,
everything you could want from a big Giulia match, where her opponent is motivated and into it and ready to fight back.
my Sakurai threw a Thunderfire power bomb
Yeah.
just because that's what she felt like doing.
Mhm.
Man, like my Sakurai, I said this before that I was more confident in my Sakurai's abilities in this match than Julia's. I think that was a bit, you know, diminishing of Julia's capabilities, but I will say I was way more impressed and way happier with my Sakurai's performance in this match than Julia's. My Sakurai was just so absurdly good. I saw someone online saying, uh, my Sakurai is only good when she's wrestling good wrestlers. And I dare you to tell me a match where Giulia was wrestling a bad wrestler and had a match as good as this one.
Oh,
She
yeah,
hasn't.
that's a good point.
Maybe Unagi at some point, but that's because Unagi just died. That wasn't a match. That was Giulia killing her. Like, and that, like,
Yeah,
really, when you think about it, like, if you think my Sakurai is a fundamentally bad wrestler, please tell me a better Giulia match against a bad wrestler, quote unquote.
yeah,
Really. Like I
yeah,
think my Sakurai has just really turned it around this year, and I have nothing but praise and respect for her in that regard. Is she my favorite wrestler? No. Am I confident in every single match she has? Not necessarily. But she is fundamentally a way better wrestler now than she was a year ago,
mhm,
and a way better wrestler than like a decent amount of professional wrestlers in the world. It's not saying much. There's a lot of shitty wrestlers, but still, you get my point. She had a tremendous performance here. I was super proud of her, frankly, and I was super happy with what this match came to be. Um, I called the glorious driver spot. I despise that Julia kicked out of it at one. If you weren't gonna let her beat you with it, at least let her get a 2 count, motherfucker.
mhm.
Jesus, that's your friend.
Giulia gotta be
Let her
Giulia,
use
though.
your move.
Yeah.
Let her use your move and just, you can't even use it anymore. They don't do they don't do pile
Yeah.
drivers over there.
Shout
Come
out
on.
Pedro, who at this point yelled, "Put your friend over, you damn pizza maker."
Exactly. Exactly. That yeah, I saw that. I forgot if it was Pedro
Yeah.
or Ken who said that. Just put your goddamn friend over. At least a little bit.
I think Ken would have
Let
been
her get
meaner
a
than
2 count.
Pizza Maker,
Let,
to be
yeah.
fair.
But let her get a 2 count, okay? That's
Yeah.
it. But you know,
My
that's
goodness.
a slight nitpick. She did get the my pan roll, which made me jump for a second. I was like,
Yeah.
damn, that was a close one. But yeah, Julia won with the Northern Lights bomb, arm trapped Northern Lights bomb,
Yeah, she
and
pulled out
I
the
really liked
top
the match.
Northern Lights bomb. I think that was a
Yeah,
real sign of respect. Like, that's the move she had to use to beat Seri, you know?
that's the move that
Yeah,
nobody's kicked out of. I don't think.
yeah. Like, that is, a big sign of respect to my Sakurai. and I think
Totally.
yeah, she came away from this looking fantastic. Um, I do have to go soon, so we can't stick on a lot of stuff, sadly.
We need to preview very briefly.
Yeah.
We need to preview at least one
Um,
match.
I think Giulia. We have to talk about Giulia going away. I think. No, we can do that after the gauntlet, can't we?
We can do it next week. Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that next week because I have a lot of takes on Giulia. In her promo, Giulia said, "Hey, I'm having a gauntlet actually next week. I know I said this is my last match, but I lied, lol." Um, and she name dropped Tsukasa Fujimoto. So I think we're getting Tsukasa Fujimoto versus Giulia for 1 minute, and also Giulia and Utami for a minute. So
And then the
um,
rest of the roster.
yeah, so there's gonna be some
And
surprises there, but I know
yeah,
she
that's what I was
mentioned
gonna say.
Tsukasa, and the entire venue was like, "What? What did you say?" So that was really fun.
Unfortunately, there
Um,
can be no Stardom wrestlers because they are all working.
yeah,
Um,
there's a show.
but Micah was in attendance for this show.
That was really funny. You could see her bucket hat. Himeka was there
Yeah.
too, so that was fun. Um,
Oh, wow.
right. So this weekend, the card was posted out of order and with the wrong times, so I don't know which is which. But there's a tag
They're different
championship.
days.
It's two different days. Oh, I
It's
thought
the
it was a
24th and
double
the
shot.
25th.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was a double shot. I was like, why are they both at 12 o'clock? Anyway, so on
They
the
were
24th.
out of order though.
Yes, they were. The 24th, Twin Star Championships. Mai Sakurai and Mirai defend against Nao Ishikawa and Nanai Takahashi. It's a pretty easy V1, considering Nao has yet to win
I think
in
this match can build to a potential Nanai Mirai final. Not
Good.
build to, but like kind of like
Tease
tease
it.
it a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, I'm excited for
It
that match. That sounds like a really fun match.
does. The next match is even better. Nagisa Nozaki, Chiaki, and Bozilla versus Miko Aono, Koki, and Utami Hayashishita.
Hell of a match.
Wow.
Look at that
Um,
render for Chiaki with the scar.
oh,
That's
dude.
real.
Honestly.
Chiaki's just man.
Chiaki is gender envy. I can't
Yeah,
explain it any other way. That other
no,
team
that's
is
valid.
insane though. Utami and Aono just casually teaming up. Um,
Yes.
we have Misa Matsuri teaming with Natsumi Shizuki to take on Victoria Yuzuki and Kazuna Tanaka. Maybe there's a miscommunication there that
That's what I was
makes
kind of thinking.
Matsuri lose. Yeah.
I could see.
Um,
I could see.
well, the new
Who
Rook
who
is on the
goes? I
show.
know you have
Okay.
to go soon.
No, I was just trying to check something. But
So Shozuki Yuzuki is the first match of the tournament.
oh, yeah.
So I could see Yuzuki get the roll up on Natsumi here,
You think?
or something similar. Maybe they win now and then Yuzuki beats Shozuki during the tournament. I could see
Yeah.
this being kind of like a 50-50 in that respect, because the next weekend is Yuzuki versus Shozuki.
Okay. Yeah, no, you lost me there for a second, but I'm with you. Um,
Oh,
I forgot to say, Aono asked for a match with Mai Sakurai or Gochika as well for her next UN title
yes,
defense,
yeah.
so that's interesting. We will eventually get to all this, but today got messed up. We have a three-way match on the 24th as well. It's Myla Grace, Zeta Steel, and Komomo
We
Minami.
did that all out of
Um,
order, but that's
yeah, we did. They posted it. I'm just doing that as they posted it. But yeah, Komomo's probably going to lose to Myla. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the opener is Gochika versus Yuki Minami. So
Let's see
that's
how high she
nice.
can jump up.
Hell yeah.
Achika, Kochika, Gochika.
The show on the 25th was posted in order, so we're starting with Komomo Minami, Yuki Minami, and Natsumi Shozuki versus
Mhm.
Misa Matsui, Zeta Steel, and Myla Grace. Probably,
Oh, that's
eh,
the foreigners winning.
yeah. Minami and Minami are, yeah, they're too weak, I think.
They can't win. Yeah.
No. We have Bozilla, Nagisa Nozaki, and Chiaki versus Nao Ishikawa, Mai Sakurai, and Mirai. I think Nao takes a pin, probably to Bozilla. They probably tease Mirai Bozilla a little bit more.
Yeah. No, I agree. Maybe Chiaki could get that over now.
Could do, yeah.
I think Chiaki probably needs the bump a bit more, and that's what
Yeah,
they've been doing lately, is giving Chiaki more of the shine in this trio.
yeah, actually, that's true. She did win the
The
match
G1
recently,
match.
wasn't she? Yeah. So, we'll have to wait and see. Utami teams with Kazuna Tanaka and Victoria Yuzuki against Miko Aono, Gochika, and Koki. So
It's a cool
that's a
match.
fun one. And then the Giulia Gauntlet, where she's going to wrestle people for a minute apiece. Um, I have a prediction of sorts that somebody related to or close to Hannah will show up and wrestle her. We're gonna do a Hannah
That'd be
bit.
nice.
I don't know how Kyoko Kimura is feeling. I don't know if she can wrestle.
That
I
would
don't
be
think
the
Jungle
coolest thing ever.
Kiona is able for it. Sadly, I don't think we could see Kiona. Maybe
Yoshino,
Venny.
it's your time.
That'd be cool. Maybe Venny. I think Venny would be nice because she was meant to wrestle Giulia at the Hannah show, so they could do that.
I could see it being Jungle depending on how bad her knees are right now.
It could be Jungle if they just like do the yes
It's
sir
1
salute
minute.
for a minute. I think that would be
Yeah,
lovely.
yeah.
Because
She could
Julia
if she could
did,
if she could physically get into the ring, it could just be
yeah,
Jungle doing nothing.
yeah, or Kyoko. I think Kyoko Kimura could be fine.
Same, yeah.
Because Julia did do the Hana thing after her match with Mai Sakurai. I don't know if people noticed that she did the
Yeah.
fist bump and then also the yes sir, and those are like two things that's been linked for a long time. So I think there will be some sort of Hana involvement in that, and I do think we might see a Himeka or somebody
I was thinking
from
Hameka.
like Ice Ribbon who's maybe left. I don't know what Tequila Saya is up to. It's probably not Tequila Saya, but somebody from Ice Ribbon or Himeka, I think.
Yeah, I was looking at Hameka immediately. Um, Otherwise, it would be really funny if Risa Sarah did it, because that is
Oh
her
yeah,
day off.
that's true.
Um, so like that's
Mayukihi, let's
possible.
get you in there.
You know what's funny? Mayukihi is in a tag match against Tsukasa the day before.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, Sukasa's going back into hiatus. Oh yeah, Sukasa's
So
going into hiatus and then doing the show. So
yeah, this
that's
is her
funny.
last thing
All right,
before going back to
interesting,
hiatus.
interesting.
But yeah, I'm looking at a Hameka. I think that'd be cool, and I think
Yeah.
a Kyoko
Who
or
the
a
hell is
Jungle would be a
Shino?
cool little thing. Huh?
Shino Marigold. Is this a new girl?
Shino is a egoist. It's Michiko's daughter.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because I was on the Marigold Twitter and I saw Shino and Giulia. I was like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's all for that show. For this show, we've recorded for 3 hours in total. You will only hear 1 hour of it, sadly. My voice is about to go, so we'll be back at some point next week. I don't know if I'm going to be here because I'm going to England this weekend. But I'm pretty much available a lot next week, so we can probably do a post quarterfinal show and maybe just like talk about the GP final when we have a card. We'll see. We'll let you know. But with that, it is time to close the show. If you want to stand, you may stand. If you want to sit, you may sit. Believe today, shine tomorrow. You decide what you believe in. Ijo.
Ijo.